Well, you would have heard me saying many times on the television at Hollywood Bets Greyville or Hollywood Bets Scottsville about the South African Jockey Academy and about the South African jockeys that have gone around the world and continue to make a name for themselves, and the ones that are left here in South Africa, how we enjoy their riding and how we follow their careers with great interest. Well, today's show, we've got one of the gentlemen from the South African Jockey Academy, a guy by the name of Donald
Geerthsen.
And he is
it's not Geerthsen.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting
there.
No,
I want to get my oar in straight away.
You want to get your oar in straight away.
Because it irritates the shit out of you.
Okay, so we've got Grumpy at his maximum. You know, you're not quite at your maximum. That was just calm.
No, that was just calm.
Donald Geerthsen, is that right?
Yeah.
Donald Geerthsen is with us today, and he's from the South African Jockey Academy. We're going to learn all about him. We're going to hear what makes him tick, and we're going to just enjoy the next 45 minutes or so with him. Donald, lovely to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
It took a bit of persuading to get him here. He doesn't like publicity. He's like a Ryan Moore.
I must just say that having seen Donald at the tracks and at the race course, etc., which is his place of work, he's very serious. He's very minimal. He doesn't speak much. But having spent the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes while the team were preparing the podcast, there's nothing wrong with your speech. You can speak, and you're outgoing. You're completely outgoing. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah. Well, Donald started off at Ashburton with the Spooky Humbies.
Oh, well, that's the problem, because he would have trained you to be a mute.
Yes.
so Spooks trained him well. Every time he had a winner, he had to produce a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, I always had to get a bottle of whiskey from the start. We never had a winner for it.
Okay, I didn't know that. There was a little bit of a
monkey shoulder
behind the scenes. Okay, nothing wrong. Okay, and so he's a whiskey drinker, Spooks.
Oh, plenty.
And in Cape Town, I see, obviously, you were just saying you speak to him fairly often. And well, let's talk about Mr. Shane Humby, because although he's a grumpy guy, he's a lovely guy. We all adore Spooky and Killinder, of course. But yeah, he's different. He's different. He keeps his cards close to his chest, but he knows his horses and he knows what's going on. And he's obviously took you under your wing a bit, and he helped you in the beginning, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he's been there for me since my first day at track. I took a first horse for him, and since then he's just helped me and guided me. He's gave me my first winner. He's given me a couple winners. He's always given me guidance. Even now, he calls me every now and again. I'll call him and I'll just talk to him and all of that.
Yeah, he's a good man, is Spooky Humby.
Spooks is old school. He doesn't let much out of the bag.
No. Okay. Before we go any further, and look at that, we haven't even been 3 minutes in and the conversation's flowing, so that's wonderful. That's what's looking forward of what's more to come.
And Upton going past.
And Upton.
Those are your colours, all scarlet.
Okay, and Upton and the all scarlet silks. Andrew, we've got two very, very, well, you've got a wetsuit on. I've got a lovely
So I don't know where you found this up.
I've got a lovely, comfortable golf shirt.
Seep was fatter than I am, and he was supposed to get into one of these.
You said extra large when we phoned you.
I told you 2X large.
2X large. Okay, well, maybe there was an error, but we will rectify it.
Big bloody error, yeah.
So your wetsuit, proudly sponsored by Tab Gold, Score 6 and Score 10. We are proudly sponsored now by Score 6 and Score 10, Tab Gold. They are behind us in the Box Seat podcast. They've made some wonderful golf shirts. We will get Andrew one that fits. Just for today, I wasn't going to be the only one wearing this lovely golf shirt. And you're going on leave after this for 3 weeks, so there'll be plenty of time to make you bigger golf shirts. The problem is that when you come back from your leave, you'll need 4XL, because you would have had so much beer and boerewors.
No, we're living in the desert and there's not much food there, so I could come back a couple of stone lighter.
Tell us, where are you going on holiday? Going to the
Kadagari Transfrontier Park.
Have you been out there before?
Twice.
Okay, and literally in the desert?
Yeah.
You enjoy it?
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise I wouldn't go back.
No, sure, but I mean, I'd rather go to the proper game reserve.
What is a proper game reserve?
Sand.
Yeah, but there are lots of lions.
Okay, all right. Well, we wish you all the best. Have a good holiday, and we'll see you back in 3 weeks' time. It looks like Rahil Radhakrishna and I will be doing the podcast in your absence. Now, back to Donald. I don't know. I know about you. I know you ride winners, and I know that you're a competent young man. But I'd like to know your story and share your story with us. How did that all start for you? Were you a horse racing person? Did you know about racing, or how did you get to know about this professional career called jockey?
I don't actually have a very horsey family. I started off show jumping when I was much younger, and I was the first person in our family to like actually get involved with horses. And from a very young age, I wanted to be a jockey because I fell in love with it after watching the movie Racing Stripes.
Okay.
With the zebra and all of that.
I think Donald's about the second or third person that's told us that, so it just shows you the impact that a show like that can have.
Jeez, it was a cock movie. Yeah.
I don't know why, I just loved it. I always loved it. And then I started show jumping and eventually kind of just forgot about it. But then I went to my latest riding coach, who was Anton Hook, and after a while he said, I really think you should try and get back into that dream and see. And then he connected me to Mr. Moore. I went and got measured and everything, and after I weighed, I went to the camps and all that, and I wanted to do this.
Is that Anton Hook from
Cornerstone
Stud?
Yes.
Jeez, I had the privilege of meeting him up in Joburg at the National Sales, and a horseman, and okay, so that's...
He opened the stud my last year riding there.
Cornerstone Stud, and there is a sale actually, the November 2-year-old sale, which we're going to market through the podcast. The November 2-year-old sale, 27th of November at Gosforth Park, Johannesburg, where we will all be. But I want to just open this book and have a look and see if Cornerstone Stud have got some horses on the sale. But
well, you've got new glasses, you can check
I
now.
can see clearly now. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with my eyesight. Your red shirt is magnificent, and Donald's pink.
You better take your glasses back because they're not working.
So back to your story. So Anton Hook, okay, so he got you involved. But Anton Hook also, I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Charles Baker.
Yes.
Yes, who also works very closely with Anton. And have you met Charles Baker?
No.
What a pedigree analysis. I don't think you can get this. He's one of the best. But anyway, back to your story. So they introduced you to Mr. Moore. What happened after that?
After that, he measured me. He said, okay, we'd like you to come through for the interviews. I went to the last interview. And then I went to the camp and passed all the requirements. And I decided this is what I wanted to do. Because I always wanted to end up working with animals or horses, preferably after school, and this is the best thing for me.
But your father's a pretty genius at mathematics.
Yeah, I'm good at maths. It's not hard for me, but I don't want to be stuck in the office all day.
Yeah, well, let's talk about, we'll come back to your experience at the academy, your first day when you arrived there. We'll come back to that. But Andrew's touched on your family. Tell us about them, your mom, your dad, what your dad does, what your mom does, if you've got any siblings. Talk about your beautiful family.
I've got two older brothers and mom and dad. My mom is a pastor.
Okay.
She works in the church and that. She's done that since I've been born. My dad's a mathematician. He kind of like does programming and does systems and all of that. And then my two older brothers, the one is 21. He turned 21 this year, and the other one's 23.
Okay, sure. Okay.
What do they do?
My eldest brother, I think he works at aftercare at the moment. He plays blind cricket. He recently made Proteas, so he's going to overseas in December and that. And then my other brother is busy studying to become a personal trainer.
Okay, sure. It doesn't look like Cornerstone have horses on the sale, but Cornerstone Stud, look them up. You say your mom's a pastor.
Yeah.
Just because certain people are religious doesn't mean that it goes. Are you a believer? Are you religious?
Yes,
okay, fantastic. Because
I mean, we did basically grow up in the church, going to Sunday school and all of that, going to church. But I do. I'm very religious.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because you meet people that maybe their parents are religious or believers, and their kids aren't. Everyone's entitled to make their own choices. Okay, that's fantastic. Donald. So it's just the boys, eh? It's you and your two brothers, so three boys. And we've had the privilege of meeting your mom and dad. Where do they live? Where's home for you?
Littleton in Pretoria.
Okay, so up in Pretoria.
No, they're quite supportive. I mean, they've been at the track quite often.
Yeah, whenever they're down here, they come and watch my races. They'll come watch me at track. When I go to Joburg to race at Appy races and that, they'll always come and watch.
Yeah, so it's good to have people like that.
Your brothers, with one being a personal trainer, and obviously you've got to keep your body in check. You've got to be healthy. You've got to be eating right, etc. Doing a bit of exercise, although I can't say a bit of exercise. Riding horses in the morning is huge exercise. Never mind a bit of exercise. Have you ever kept a sports watch on you to count how many calories you burn?
At the moment, there's a new app. Like when the iPhone, its last updates, it came with something that tracks your steps and all that.
Okay.
Usually it's like about 1,000 a day.
About 1,000. Okay. Yeah. So that's That's a lot of calories.
You should get your brother to come and do a beep test.
Yeah, see how he does with that.
And your relationship with your Proteas, lekker?
Yeah, we're very close. We've always been together, playing together, always have each other's backs.
You know, I just for a sideline the other day, you know, we respect people, we respect the public. And although we've always said on the podcast, we don't take negativity, we don't take criticism. And I approached somebody the other day because I can't remember whose podcast it was. I mean, yes, who was on our podcast. It was a good amount of weeks ago. The person was most disgruntled. They said, you and I made our guest feel incredibly uncomfortable. And I contacted that person and I said, you obviously don't know Andrew Harrison and I very well because we would never make anyone feel uncomfortable. We ask interesting questions. And if our guest didn't want to answer that question, they had every right not to answer the question. But I don't think we've made anyone feel uncomfortable.
Oh, well, not that I know of.
No, absolutely.
We haven't had any dirty mail or
no,
death
absolutely
threats
not
yet.
at all. I mean, we're all friends. I mean, Donald's our racing friend, and all our guests, I mean, we're racing people. But okay, so because now somebody might say, well, why are you asking if he gets on with his brothers?
Yeah, but
because
you know,
everyone gets on with their brothers.
Yeah, but some people are just uncomfortable in front of the microphone, so they'll just be uncomfortable anyway.
Yeah, well, Donald is doing a fabulous job. Now, Andrew passed a little joke that you were a bully at school. Is that right? Tell us about it. You were a naughty boy at school.
Now, when I was in preschool, I was used to play with my brothers, and we were very rough, them being older than me and that. So when I used to go to preschool, I used to go and tackle the kids and play with them. I was always the smallest in class, but I'd be tackling and accidentally hurting the bigger kids. So my parents often used to get called in and say, please can you make sure Donald doesn't tackle the other kids and that. But that was just me trying to play with them, how I learned with my brothers.
Yeah, and
It's good training.
yeah, with three brothers, you expect when you play, it's rough and tumble, absolutely. But talk about, I said I was bullied at school. I used to have my head shoved down the toilet and all the rest of it. Now, those are the old days.
Is that why you're bald?
So my hair went down the toilet, yeah. But nowadays, if somebody tried to bully me, they'd get a left hook, and a right jab, you know.
Okay.
They taught me at my gym to stand up for yourself. Now, sports, do you any other sports besides racing?
I used to do show jumping.
Yeah, okay.
I've been riding horses most of my life. That's all I really did.
For racing, I mean, maybe it's a silly question or I'm stating the obvious, but I say it in a nice way. It's a sickness, it's a love, it's a way of life for all of us. I mean, even Andrew, who's semi-retired, still can't take his finger out the pie. He loves his racing, he loves horses, etc., etc. For me, whether it's a good day, bad day, we just keep coming back for more. We wouldn't have it any other way. Do you experience it the same way, Donald? I mean, if you have a bit of a bad day at track or a trainer shouts at you or you've made a bad judgment in a race, does that not outweigh your will and your passion to survive and to do well in this game?
Yeah, it's not an easy game. It's tough, but you do it because you love it, and that's what keeps me going. You know, I wake up early in the mornings. I'm not going to do that unless I'm really passionate about it.
And replays you'll watch until you're blue in the face, and you keep watching races and study form and talk horses with your friends. Yeah,
definitely. I always go over my races and check them, whether they're good or bad, fix it, make sure I can improve as much as possible. But yeah, we'll always be talking about racing.
So your first winner was for Mr. Humby.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tell us about that.
You won 3 races on that.
Yeah, I
horse.
won 3 races on her. Mr. Humby actually just kept her to give me she was supposed to be my first ride for him, but I ended up riding Wayward before that. But then when I rode her, then she came out and won, and we've just got along so nicely, me and that filly. We've progressed together. When I first started riding her track to how she was before she went to stud, she just matured so well, and we just got connected so well together.
So Wayward was your first winner?
No,
First
Wayward
ride.
was the first horse that I rode, but
Right.
my first winner was Twice as Fast.
Okay, that's right, okay. Just go back to the academy. We know that Mr. Bailey has retired, and we wish him so well in his retirement. I saw on his social media, he's like you, in this caravan going to the game reserves, having a wonderful time. He really deserves it. But he'll come back to see us, I'm sure, and we'll have him again and be with him again. But Mr. Andre Nell, don't worry about your phone. It's a casual show, we know that. Not Mr. Andre Nell. Mr. Marius Nell has taken over. How's it going with him? I know that you're very close to him, and as to all your teachers. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's our maths teacher. He's also in charge of the schooling side, and he's our housemaster. I think he's doing a very good job. He's been checking around, making sure everybody's requests and complaints are handled, and he's just been doing the best he can.
Yeah, he's been part of the furniture, Andrew.
He's been there a long time.
A wonderful human being.
Quite
And now make sure you don't forget.
Use your glasses. Where did I push silent?
Make sure you don't forget to turn it back on, because I'll be phoning you later for work issues, and then you won't answer. Let's have a look. What do you want to do?
Silent.
Okay. If you vibrate, you happy with that?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr.
I'll
Nell,
keep it in my pocket.
who are your other teachers?
Mr. H, Mr. Vinny Harry, he's also been there for a very long time.
He has.
And Miss Koenig, she's our equine teacher, and then our English teacher came last year. She's Miss Ara Smith.
Okay, Mrs. Lindsay, do you remember Dawn Lindsay?
She retired the beginning of last year.
Schooling, your mark's good. You're doing the trick now, hey?
Yeah.
So you're nearly finished. You're in with 100 meters to go.
Yeah, I've got about a month left starting Monday. Can't wait. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm very bright. I don't struggle with school. So I don't have to study too much. Just pay attention in class more or less, and I'll get through it. Do you know you get people like that?
I wish I'd been like that.
Well, I mean, you're a sharp boy. I mean, you're a good writer. I've told you don't like to hear compliments, but I don't care. I've told you one of the best.
I got an eye for maths.
I just stand at
0 to 90.
I think my dad would kill me if that.
I just stand at 9 twice. I failed by 1%. And in hindsight, I remember they called my parents in. My father was still alive then, and they called us in and said they were divorced, but my dad was still alive. They said, Mr. and Mrs. Lenferno, what do you want to do with your son? He's got 1%. We can remark, rescan, try and squeeze him through. And they were gobsmacked. I made the decision. I said, no. Don't push me through. I want to do it again. And I tell you, it was the best decision I could ever have made, because although they were on standard grade, you get to those grades. In our days, we got standard grade, higher grade. Is it all one now, or is it still a higher grade?
It's normal.
No, it's flat, one grade. Standard grade. Because higher grade, I think, was 41% pass, and standard grade was 38%, or something along those lines.
Jesus, you must have been doof.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But I got every subject in my second year of matric on standard grade, everyone a distinction. So, it pays. A good education, although I don't know, has it really? I still can't pick a winner. Yeah. The schooling. Donald's what he's saying is that he does his work and he gets his marks.
Donald, you start early in the morning. You write for?
I write for Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller.
I wake up at 3. I'm out of the academy by 4 o'clock, and we're riding like 4:15.
You wake up at 3?
Yeah.
Sure. And what's the first thing you reach for in the morning? As you open your eyes, what do you go for?
I go make some coffee.
Okay. Even before you've checked your phone?
I don't care about the phone. I need my coffee.
Okay.
I can't function
Do you wake up your mates?
Nah, most of them, they only wake up at like 4:30.
Or 5 minutes before the bus leaves.
Pretty much.
Well, I know Gabriel is a bit hard to get out of bed.
Yeah, definitely. He would have fun. But I'm in the third year side by myself now, so I just wake up and get ready.
Tell me your weight. Do you have any weight issues?
Nah, I'm walking around 51, 50 and a half. I don't struggle with it. If I need to get it down, I can. Yeah.
Okay. Eating wise, I mean, do you generally eat healthy, or
Yeah, I do. I like healthy food. I like fruit. I like vegetables. I've always loved them since I was a child. I prefer to eat those anyway.
I wish my stepchild was watching. If you try and get her to eat vegetables, like trying to ask her to give you $1 million.
Do you eat inferior cabbages?
No.
What's inferior cabbages?
Brussels sprout.
Oh my God!
No, that's one thing I've hated since forever.
I can't.
My dad loves them.
I adore them, but nobody wants to cook them for me because they stink out the house.
No, I'll never.
Somebody I know calls them. I can't tell you what they call them, but it's not a very complimentary name. Okay, so you don't eat inferior cabbages. Okay, I need to get somebody to make that. I know who's going to make those for me, Brussels. Okay, so but you can let your hair down a bit when it comes to eating, if you want. If you want to have a treat or you have a slice of cake, you can do that. But you've got to rein it in and just be cautious. Yeah,
I'll be cautious every now and again, but I don't really have a sweet tooth that much. I'll snack a bit sometimes, but mostly when I'm hungry, I'll crave like fruit.
You told us that Mr. Humby is a whiskey drinker. As you get older, and when you one day maybe have an alcoholic beverage, what would be your choice of alcoholic beverage, you think? Would you enjoy a beer? Might you enjoy a gin?
I'm not sure. My parents are very big gin drinkers.
Gin drinkers,
They
okay.
used to drink wine a lot when I was a child. I used to sip on their wine all the time. I used to sip on their gin, so I've become very accustomed to gin and that. So I think that would probably be the way I go, but I'm not sure.
Gin is mother's ruin.
You know, Patrick Mangard, a good friend of ours, kept telling me gin it makes you depressed. Well, I've gone through cases of gin, and I suppose...
It must be your pills that keep you
No, I can't say my parents are depressed and they drink too much.
Well, gin hasn't made me depressed. But, you know, it's a harsh reality that everything comes into fashion. You know, cell phones come into fashion, come out of fashion. Gin goes in fashion, comes out. It's been a big fashion drink, that gin. Okay, so it could be gin that you like to drink. What else? Talk to us about...
Who looks after you here as far as trainers go?
I work for Miller, Lafferty, Dreyer and Van Zyl mainly. I've just started riding for Van Zyl recently. But Miller takes care of me. They all collectively take care of me. I just try and get around as much as possible.
And Ashburton?
Ashburton at the moment, I don't get many rides there. It was mainly Mr. Humby when I was there, but I go once a week just to try and get around.
Keep your hand in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
You never know, you might crack a hot one. I know Com's got some nice 2-year-olds.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
How many winners have you ridden thus far, Donald?
I've ridden 25.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And you got that nickname, Donut.
Yeah,
How
I
on
got
earth-
that.
Tell us that story.
I got that from one of Mr. Well, it's Mr. Humby's head boy. His name is Boy. When I first went to track, he can't say Donald, so he calls me Donut. So that's what Mr. Humby calls me and everything.
Oh, lovely, Sam. Yeah, boy, it'd be nice to talk to him one day. He's a fabulous... Well, you can't now, he's in Cape
Well,
Town.
boy, like the wildebeest that run around at Ashburton, he calls them Woederwors.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. And there's so many good people behind the scenes that work with these horses. So now, this is your final year in the academy.
No, this is matric, and then I've got 2 more years left.
Okay. Matric, then you got 2 more years. Which school... Obviously Pretoria based, but I mean, what were your schools leading up to the Jockey Academy?
I went to primary school at Springvale Primary. It's not very well known. There's a reason for that. It's not such a good school. But then I went to Pretoria Boys High, which was a family tradition. I think I was the 4th generation or something. My grandfather was one of the first people in the school. No, I think it was my great-grandfather somewhere there. But one of them was one of the first in the school, and yeah, it's a lovely school. I can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, but it's a good school, that. I often hear people talking good about that. In this game, criticism, is part of the game, unfortunately, as long as it's constructive and not malice. But you'll sometimes, maybe you have already, I don't know, but you'll come across an owner or a trainer that is not happy with your performance or whatever it may be, and they let you have it. How do you take that? I mean, how do you take criticism? How do you take grumpy trainers and owners? Because we get all that in this industry.
Just listen to what they're saying and fix it. All you can do is improve, use the criticism, use it to your advantage, and just work on it and become better so they can't be mad at you anymore.
Okay. It's a tough game because everyone's under pressure. It's the financial. If things go wrong in a race, it's a whole knock-on effect. The groom gets affected. He doesn't get his R1,000. He doesn't get his commission. The trainer losses earnings.
But you must always remember the trainers are always under pressure because the expectations from owners. There was a nice thing that Dave Thistleton put on Turf Talk the other day. There was one jockey they spoke to. They said to him, will you become a trainer? He says, no. He said, definitely not become a trainer. He says, horses are not that difficult to train. He says, but training owners, it's unbelievable. And I think that's a case with a lot of trainers.
Yeah, but times have changed. We've had this debate before. Times have changed. Owners want to get involved. Owners want to, and if you own a car, or if you own a house, you want to get involved in maintaining the house, maintaining your car. How's your car doing? When does it need to go for its next service? Owners want to get involved.
Yeah, but if they came to the track every day or once a week to see their horses, it's fine. But all they do is pick up the phone and says, "When's it running again?"
Yeah, no, that too. And also too, you don't. As you've said it before on shows, you don't. How's my?
Your throat.
Oh,
Sorted with all those strips.
did you see that? You didn't watch me yesterday? That was the most embarrassing moment, and we'll talk about that.
We had load shedding.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Terry.
Hey,
Terry
Andy.
always pops
Hey, Terry.
into our podcast. Always, he knows it's on a Thursday tradition. And Terry from the Tony Riverland stable. I'll talk about that. That was a terrible experience. But back to, don't tell a trainer how to train a horse. He knows how to train a horse. He or she knows how to train a horse. But an owner
otherwise
can,
you wouldn't
when's it going to run, or what are its plans? That's all fair questions as far as I'm concerned. But if you start saying, I want it galloping here, I want it running there, then that's an issue. But that's for another
jockey,
debate.
and I don't want that jockey.
Now, I'm just making a note about, Once so you've still got 2 years of the academy, which is good because at least it'll give you more time and more grounding and to gain more experience. Do you think you'd go back to Johannesburg afterwards, or was it maybe too early to think about things like that?
I think I want to see where I am over here, there, but I know I do definitely want to travel next year when I don't have school and that. Try and get around, just try and see where I can find the most support.
School's a bit of a handbrake at the time.
Yeah.
But as you say, he's got 100 metres to go and he's in the home straight and school's almost done. Would you think maybe you'd get an agent to help you, or would you want to start off doing your own rides? And
At the academy, we're not allowed to. We have Mr. Paddy Wynn, and we must call and all that, but I think it's a good thing to learn how to get your own rides. When I'm out of the academy, I'd happily get an agent just to help me run all the centres.
Are you comfortable with picking up the phone and chatting to trainers? Are you able to approach people? Because not everyone can do that. I find it a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, at first I think it was hard when I started, but you get used to it and you kind of have to do it, because if you don't, you're not going to get the rides.
Yeah, absolutely. But also nowadays, things that you can on WhatsApp, it makes it easier. But it's always nice to be polite and talk and speak and.
I think you got good manners. You should be right. There's some grumpy trainers that would just fluke you, but anyway.
Talking about manners, obviously the home that you come from and the schools that you've been through and the current school, manners is important.
Yes, especially like my high school boys you were taught very well about your manners, treat people when they walk past, no matter how many times they walk past, stand up, all of that. But it makes people think better of you, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a new bloke that's just one of the white caps that's just arrived at Ashburton. Is it Brevin? Brevin Plaitjes.
I haven't met him.
No. Jeez, I've never met such a polite bloke. I even get in my car like an old man and he jumps out the bus to come and close my door. I thought, jeez,
manners.
Do I look like a bloody cripple?
Well, sometimes when you stride a bit short, but manners maketh man. Yeah, absolutely. So that's your riding. Your riding. Do you have any superstitions with regards to? Are you superstitious? Do you have anything? Do you have a special kit, or do you do certain things you don't do on a race day?
Not really. I think at most I have one pair of undies that I like to wear, more or less, but I'm not too much about it.
This was one of the questions that one person on social media found upsetting, which is really strange. But anyway, because I'm going to ask Donald the same question, because I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, upset the bloke again.
Where does your family originate? Are you South African? Are you French?
My dad's father came to South Africa from Germany when he was a boy.
Okay.
And I think my mom's side is from England or something, but after that we're all South African.
Okay.
So the Second World War is not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
Okay,
so we mainly German.
Mainly German. Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to say South African, but of German
Origins.
descent. Is that what is the word you use?
Origins.
Origin. That's right. Origin. Yeah. Okay. So German origin.
You get on well with my wife.
Your wife's a German.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
But most of the German I know is I can't repeat because what my dad's fixed us when we were naughty.
The German swear words. Like me, the French. I know the Mauritians. I just know the Mauritian swear words.
Donald, what's the best horse that you've ridden so far, apart from Twice as Fast?
The best horses, it's hard to say. I've ridden a lot of the horses. I work a lot of the horses in that, but in races, I would have to say probably Price's Ruler, just because the feel he gave me, the way, and I mean, you saw he won yesterday, but yeah.
And
riding
work with?
I've ridden She's a Keeper.
Sure.
At work, she was a very good filly. She works well and all of that. Yeah.
Jeez, those are nice names, and such a young career. She's a keeper.
Well, at least they trust you with no runaways.
Have you had runaways before?
Yeah, I think it's a part of track. It's a part of learning to ride. But yeah, not so many these days, but it happens.
And what when your horse is running away, you're just thinking in your mind, oh, shivers, and
you just hope it stops, really. Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay. We're going to just also talk a little bit about newsy things, and Donald's with us, and we're going to, hopefully you'll have a cup of tea with us afterwards. Atandiwe Makutwa.
Yeah,
3 rides the other day, 3 winners, a clean slate for him. Isn't that wonderful?
no, it's good. Yeah, Tony works hard. Eh?
And what's he like in the jockey room? What's he like? He's at the track. He seems quite humorous. He's always bubbly and happy.
Yeah, he is. He's like that everywhere. I mean, I do his kids at the moment.
Okay.
He's a wonderful person to work for. He's very lively. He's always has that spring in his step.
Yes.
Awesome.
Because he rode the jackpot as an apprentice, did he not?
Yes, he did.
I mean, those are lovely records to have on his CV. Jackpot, ridden the jackpot in his apprenticeship, 3 rides, 3 winners. Those all are lovely things to have on your. And Anton Marcus recommended him, or not recommended him, but suggested to some of the guys, there's a talent here, use it.
Yeah.
And he's delivering. So okay.
No, he's a good jockey.
And so you're his kit guy. Okay, that's fantastic. Well, I hope he bought you a nice box of chocolates or a nice juicy hamburger after his successful day.
There's your boss.
There he is. There's Craig Goody. Absolutely, he's always happy. Delivery. Come and talk to us when you're finished. It's a recorded show, and we're happy to have you on it. The Appies also competitive. I mean, you're obviously all family, you're all friends. Rachel's doing so well, but she's a strong girl. You can see when it's yesterday there was such a lovely shot of her coming down the chute, and she had her game face on, and her horse was annoying her, and she knew she was there for business. But you all get on well, and unless you're on the race course where you don't, you're there to win.
Yeah, we all get on well. We're all friendly with each other. We do take our job seriously, but we're all there for each other. We help each other out when we need it. We there if someone asks.
It's a bit of help.
We get around very well.
Yeah.
We get along very well.
Hollywood, talking about winners, Hollywood Syndicate have been having a lot of winners countrywide, and under the guidance of Anthony Delpesh. I think it was it you who was chatting to Anthony yesterday at the races? I saw he was walking in and you were walking out. Is he still, I mean, he obviously he's a senior jockey, he's actively involved in the game, and he's always welcome to have questions asked to him. And do you ever tap him for advice?
I have asked him before, but yeah, yesterday when I ride for him, when he gives me advice, he tells me I can fix it. He's very helpful.
Okay, yeah, they're having their winners, Hollywood Syndicate. It was so nice yesterday. They had Lulu the Legend win, named after a gentleman, a good friend of Owen Heffer's called Lulu Lemus, a Mauritian guy. They were at the races. Lovely to see Leslie there, and they're just having winners, and they deserve it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they put the money where their mouth is, that's for sure.
Craig, come and talk to us for 1 second. We're recording the podcast. You're not shy to cameras. You're not at all. This young man tells us that he gets up early in the morning to come and work for the Millers. He's got to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is that true?
Yes, and he doesn't miss a day.
Doesn't miss a day.
We're very impressed, and that's why...
That's why he wants to leave.
and go where?
Sleep a bit longer.
You can sleep the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why he's been working really hard. He hasn't had a lot of rides lately because we haven't run a lot of horses and a lot of races. But he managed to get Tony Jelinski's horse into third the other day, which I thought was a great feat.
Yes.
And, we always have a lot of babies, so he'll be getting the second string of the babies.
Good.
And often jocks make a mistake, so you need to be on the
right one.
On the right one.
Absolutely.
I mean, even Felix could see, and Mark Sutherland. How often did Mark Sutherland win the Group 1s because Felix chose the wrong one?
Yeah.
Baby's changed the whole time. He's already told us what he likes.
Yes.
So at the moment they're not arguing. So.
Craig, thanks for your time.
No
Lovely
problem.
to see you always. Craig Goody. It's a man who's been in the game also since before I was born, that's for sure. And I say it respectfully. He's listening carefully.
That's clubbing.
Respectfully.
He knows his way around a horse.
Yeah, well.
Now, back to the news. Yesterday, did you see... I know that you're busy and you're busy at home, etc., and you're doing lots of work, but did you see the last race? Did you hear the vibe and the excitement about the 2 million that was won in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge?
No, we had load shedding.
Oh, hello darkness, my old friend.
Yeah.
Devon Heffer and the team from Hollywood keep you posted to the presenters to how that's going. And my, did you guys pick it up? You must have heard about it.
Yeah,
'cause
we heard
Keegan.
about it.
So they were going into the last race. There was one guy called Devo, 2 million. Priceless Ruder, your horse that you touched on, had to win for him to win 2.2 million. Andrew, I would faint if that was me. I mean, I faint if I stand in line to win 500 rand, never mind 2.2 million.
But the blokes were talking at the track this morning. They said if you'd taken an all to come
Yes.
on those horses, you probably would have earned a hell of a lot more than 2
But
million.
when you submit,
But
your,
that's a free one, though.
you're correct.
You have to
And
put
you
your
don't,
cash down.
that's another thing. Thanks for reminding me. It's a free to enter. You don't have to pay to enter that. I mean, so this man never paid one zack to enter, and he gave some with 2.2 million. But when you do capture your selections, it does at the end say to you, if you've got a Hollywood account, would you like to take? These are what the odds work out. So maybe he did. I don't know if he did, but so well done to them. What a great competition.
I know when I tipped the 9 winners at Clearwood once, I remember Colin Fourie was doing the sums when he got to the 6th race. He said, well, I can't do it anymore.
Just maxed out.
Yeah, it was 44,000 to 1. So that was after 6 races. There was still another 3 to go. So he didn't bother to calculate after that.
Let's talk about, we've spoken about our sponsors, and we're going to speak more about our sponsors, which you can see is Score 6 and Score 10. Tab Gold, Score 6, Score 10. Go on to Tab Gold or go into any Tab Gold outlet and bet and take your soccer bets. Choose your team, Soccer 6, Soccer 10. Not much more we can tell you about it, but go and invest in Soccer 6. And Score 6 and Score 10. There's also Soccer 10, Soccer 6, lots of soccer bets. These are the latest two, Score 6 and Score 10. Tab Gold, proudly brought to you by Tab Gold. Go and get involved. And I know nothing about soccer. I'm going to have a few bets on the soccer, Score 6 and Score 10. I've won a few bets, just guessing. But do you watch a bit of soccer or not really?
Nah, I've never been much of a soccer person.
Not a soccer person. What I do want your opinion on, Donald, is, and I must get it right, Donald Geerthsen. Geerthsen. How are others pronouncing it?
Geerthsen. My whole life, the teachers, they call Geerthsen, because they all think it's Afrikaans surname.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's German, so it's Geerthsen.
Geerthsen.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny because people, because I've got bad memory, George. What's your name again? I must think of car gears. Geerthsen. Geertz. Change gears. Change Geerthsen.
The thing is, because I've got German missus. She also gets the needle.
Doesn't give an inch, eh?
Yeah.
The Germans, they parat. They parat.
Yes.
But it is a German with a lovely sense of humour. He's smiling and he's laughing. That's why I say it's been fabulous talking
Must
to
be
him.
the English side of it.
Coming
Yes.
out. I want your opinion on Greyhound racing. Now, why I say that, because we've been asked to talk and market. It's our company, it's our business. Greyhound racing. A lot of people, and I'm going to get your opinion in a moment, but I want to start with our guest. We bet on Greyhound racing. What are your opinion on on Greyhound racing?
We often see it in the TV before races in the jockey room, and it looks pretty cool to be involved in, pretty eventful, but it's pretty amazing how fast those dogs go over those short little periods.
Yeah,
And
I noticed. So you haven't got anything against it?
No.
I know that there are a lot of people that have got something against it, and that's fine. People, everyone's entitled. What is your opinion on it?
I don't mind dog racing at all. The problem is that after racing, what do you do with the dogs? Because there's lots of them.
Yeah.
That's my issue with
Is it not the same? What do you do with all the horses? We rehome them, we send them on.
Yeah, but you can rehome horses, but you can't. It's hard to rehome a greyhound.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, that's my opinion.
Okay,
But
no,
I enjoy it.
don't.
I know when I worked at the Witness in my early days, there were two Scottish sub-editors. They used to go to the flapping tracks, they call them in Scotland, the illegal tracks. And they told me a story about the favourite was losing and the bloke threw a pie over the fence and all the dogs.
The dog went for the and it's amazing, got the rabbit or the mouse, you watch it, it's on that arm, and it's amazing how they get them to run. But
No, we backed in Swaziland used to have greyhound racing. I went with my father once, and every time we backed a dog, it didn't take the corner and crashed into the side fence. So we gave that up too.
But I find it fascinating to watch the little starting stalls, and you know, I do notice they're quick, as you say.
Yeah,
they are quick.
very
They've got
quick.
quick
Good to
actions.
watch. Eh?
They're good to watch. Yeah, I've had a few bets on them. I'm not successful, but okay. Because greyhound racing, that is something else that you can investigate. And as Donald says, before our local racing starts, is greyhound racing. You might want to start your day and have a few bucks on a greyhound. Choose your favourite name and look at the form. But yeah, don't forget your greyhound
The
racing.
form works out quite well, eh?
Does it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I must just
Unless
share
I get a
with-
pie.
Unless they get a so you got the shivers and threw the pie over. Oh, that was supposed to be hysterical. I want to share with the two of you a story before we end up. And if there's anything else we want to ask Donald, we've got the time, but I want to tell you this amazing story. Well, not amazing story, the most embarrassing story. You didn't see what happened to me yesterday?
No.
Did you see it?
No.
No. Okay, I'm glad then. I must have covered it up fairly well. So on live television and on podcasts we're all human, we make mistakes. I mean, Clyde Basil many years ago was commentating, and next minute he had this fly went in his throat. And his was a big proper fly, those big flies. Yesterday, Mr. Murungasa wins his race with Tristan Godden. I forget the horse's name. Can you remember the horse's name? It was the Peter Muscat's second winner.
Yes.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. The name's not
Son
important.
of Raj, wasn't it?
No,
it was just
that was
before
the second
that
one. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
that filly. Yeah.
Anyway, whatever its name was. And I'm holding the microphone, and my man in the ear here says, "Are you ready?" I said, "Very much, I'm ready." Everything was fine. 3, 2, 1. And as he said 3, 2, 1, and I opened my mouth to talk, to say, "Welcome to the Wings Enclosure," I saw this little, like Mickey, little Mickey come flying towards me. The damn thing couldn't land on my cheek or land on my nose or land on my bald spot. It had to go straight into my mouth, right to the back of my throat. And I tell you, I coughed my whole way through. My eyes were watering, my nose was running. I couldn't get hold of a tissue. Somebody had to bring me. It was the most embarrassing moment I've ever experienced. And I'm glad you didn't see it. I'm glad you didn't see it. But there were a lot of people that did see it.
Good for the fly.
But goodness gracious me, it was fun. But, anyone, it's just these things happen. But, that's why he asked me, how's my throat? Because he obviously saw it. But it wasn't pleasant. I think that's a wrap for Donald. Anything else you want to
No, I think and we must go talk about Cape Town, though. They've got a ready-to-run sale.
Yes, there is the
Kenilworth.
news. Let's talk about absolutely. The catalogues are out. They have been out for some time. That's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's also a lovely race meeting at Hollywood Bets, Kenilworth. It's got that ready-to-run sales race.
Yeah.
That horse of Royal Aussie, I think, is the one that I like. It's gone for 2. It's won 2 in a row. And one in the manner of a very good horse, but the race is competitive. So it's a sales race this weekend, and the sales, ready-to-run sales down in Cape Racing Sales.
Yeah, but
What else is happening news-wise?
not much that I know of.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that sale, because there's also Bloodstock South Africa's sale. No racing on Monday.
They couldn't get any.
KZN Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so we've got a bit of a long weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're racing on Wednesday.
We're racing on Wednesday again. Now, a long weekend, you're not riding anywhere out of province, so you just, obviously you ride work still,
Yeah.
catch up on your studies, a bit of chill time.
I'd say mainly chill time, then studies. I'm writing English on Monday, so not too bad. I'll
Okay.
go over a bit this week, but yeah, just time to relax and rest.
My stepdaughter gets 85% for her work, doesn't open a book. Can you imagine what they would get if they did open a book? That's why you're saying, what's your English mark? What's your English mark?
My English mark, I think my last one was like high 70s.
Okay, well that's good enough. But then you don't need to open
Okay,
a
we'll
book.
pass you.
They'll pass you.
you
So
don't have to
okay,
open
so
a
more
book.
chilling this weekend.
Yeah,
But Academy still take you out to the shopping centre or that?
Yeah, they let us go out. We can go out
Okay.
with some friends if we want. And all.
We love to race, but it's also nice just to have a few. We are racing on Wednesday, so it's not really a big break. But it's nice just to catch our breath. But there's plenty of racing around the country. That's it. News. I think Summerveld Clubhouse is always beautiful, and Tawanda Taravinga's.
You're asking the question, I said.
Tawanda Taravinga. I haven't asked the question, but I'm going to ask it now. The podcast is not over. Be patient. Okay. I'm glad he reminded me because I completely forgot. I've also forgotten what the question was, but I don't. I know what the question
would
is.
you-
No, I know. Okay, I'm joking. But also, we must tell you that Tawanda Taravinga and Garth Nosworthy were on a show called Ride. And you must go onto YouTube. There is so much material out there that all racing operators go out of their way to bring racing to you, to your cell phone, and go and enjoy it. Also, what was nice is, did you see the video that Michelle Wing put on about the foal being born? Do you not have social media? Are you too
I
old
saw
for
they
social
put
media?
on YouTube. And
Yeah. Did you see? I mean, you would have seen a foal being born live.
yeah.
It's part of your training, but I think it's nice for the public to see that.
Yeah, it is.
Don't you? What social media? What's the matter with
I
you?
don't read Facebook and things like that.
Girl,
Boring.
have you got a Facebook account?
Unfortunately, yes.
So it's called Ride. Go and watch Ride on the YouTube channel, Gold Circle YouTube channel. Fabulous. But now, to ask the last question for Donald. Tawanda Talavinga wants to know, if you were not going to be a jockey, what other career path would you have chosen and why?
I think I definitely would have liked to do something with animals because I love them a lot. I like working with them. At a point, there was a time when I wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
But that's a lot of studying, a lot of...
Clearly, you don't like studying.
I think if I put my mind to it, I could have got there, but I don't love studying, especially school and all that. But yeah, definitely something with horses out of the office. I don't like being in a building all day.
Okay.
I like the fresh air and that.
Okay. Good. You happy? Very good answer. Very good question. Donald, it's been an absolute pleasure. As I say, when we chatted earlier on, that I didn't know you that well. It was lovely to hear your story. And I know that you can ride, as I said. I know that you've had winners, and I know that you're from the race course. But it's lovely to hear about your family, lovely to hear about your upbringing. And well done, and just keep grinding. And as I said to Tristan Godden in an interview yesterday, and people might say, well, why are we giving
Jeez, he's come good, eh?
Fantastic. And he's always been a good rider.
No,
he just needed the chance, and he's got the chance. And there's so many out there that need the chance, and they'll get the chance. Everybody will get a chance. There's enough cake and enough pie, talking of throwing pies to the dogs, enough cakes and pies for everybody to eat in this industry. So everyone will have their turn. But thank you for your time, and I know you've been up since 3 o'clock, and just all the best, and keep grinding, keep being honest, keep being, as Craig says, the first one there and the last one home, and I'm sure your career will go from strength to strength. Well done, we're proud of you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Anything else to add? Just thanks to Score 10 and Score 6 and to Greyhound Racing.
Do we get any money for this?
Yes, wager, have a bet, and your soccer teams win, you'll get the cash.
I'll just get a skin-tight shirt.
Yeah, I didn't realise that I've got the tent version and you've got the wetsuit version. But they are great shirts, and we thank Sipa, our colleague from Tab Gold, who organised everything. But that's a wrap from us. It's been, what have we had? It doesn't matter about the time, but it's been a wonderful time with Donald Geerthsen, and we wish him all the very best. But the last message out there is to Mr. and Mrs. Geerthsen, because we've enjoyed this time with your son, and you've done a fine job raising him, because he's a polite young man, and we know that his career will go from strength to strength. From Andrew Harrison, Warren Lenferner, Tawanda Taravinga, and Apiwe and Pelela, the whole team that makes this production possible, thank you for your continued support. Oh, before we go, wish you well on your holiday.
Thank you.
Who's going to do all your work while you're away?
I don't care.
I thought you were going to say me.
Well, you.
Okay, I'm happy to help you, because we always help one another. We brothers. I will help with. I can't do all your writing of stories and things, but somebody else must do that. But your tips and all that. Oh, I'm going to see if I can improve on you, but I don't know if that's possible.
I think it's quite easy, actually.
Andrew's away for 3 weeks. We're going to hopefully have Rahil Radhakrishna as my co-host with me for those 3 weeks. And then when Andrew gets back, I'm away for a couple of days. So Rahil Radhakrishna will be with Andrew Harrison. But that's a wrap from us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support of horse racing and all the betting that goes with it. We wish you all the very best. Remember, stay kind, love one another, and we will see you, as always, in the number one box. Thank you for watching this week's episode of In the Box Seat podcast right until the very end. And we hope that you enjoyed it, because we certainly did. If you missed last week's podcast, In the Box Seat podcast with Andrew and myself, please go and watch it here. And last week's episode will be right there for you to go and enjoy and watch, as we know you will certainly enjoy In the Box Seat podcast from last week.